Good morning from Duxbury, Massachusetts. It's a beautiful, sunny, warm day. A few people inside broadcasting with me and a few people outside listening on a large television set. We had hoped we'd have hundreds here today, but as you know, that was unable to happen. But so welcome and join us, and we'll enjoy the 120th annual meeting of the Alden Kindred of America. I'd like to begin by asking the Reverend Peter Smith from Hanson First Congregational Church to lead us in the opening prayer. Peter?
Thank you, Pauline. Please be with me in prayer. Almighty God, we are reminded this morning of the Mayflower Pilgrims, who after a fearsome journey discovered themselves to be in a world both like and unlike the world they had known before. We are reminded of the deadly disease that spread among them and killed fully half of their company. We are reminded of Governor Bradford's witness that at the worst point in the epidemic, there were but 6 or 7 healthy among their company. These folk, he said, spared no pains, night nor day, but with abundance of toil and hazard of their own health, fetched them wood, made them fires, dressed them meat, made their beds, washed their loathsome clothes, clothed and unclothed them. Dear Lord, our Father, grant in these times, separated by 400 years, but joined by circumstance, that we may show ourselves true children of our forebears, carrying forward their best traits, dependent upon your grace. Guide this body that gathers by physical presence and by technology, that future generations might also be inspired. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Peter. Now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, and Lily Cleveland is here. Lily Campbell is here to do this. She's been doing it since she was 10 years old, I think. So it's with great pleasure that she's back again in person, and the flag is behind me. And if you're at home, you should stand. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to spare you and not sing the national anthem.
Don't sing.
Right. Anyway, as is tradition, to start the meeting, we use the Alden bell. It's been around a long time. And this Alden bell gets rung and people gather usually under a large tent, but we're gathering on the screen. So I'm going to ring it 4 times. And after the first ring, I want you to say 100, 200, 300, 400, okay? 100.
100.
200.
300.
400. 400 years. People have gathered on this property, either living here as Aldens, and it's continually owned by the family, the only pilgrim artifact in the world that is in that category. I'm going to ring one more for 120 years where this meeting actually of the Kindred has been held. So 120. And the next official thing I have to do is I have to gavel it to order. All right, we are officially open, and it's very nice to have all of you here. I think there are people online that can speak who are on the agenda. There are people on this call that can see what we're doing, but they're not able to put on audio. It would be kind of impossible with hundreds of people, but we all will be able to vote on things that we need to vote on during this meeting, and that will happen.
Grandma, you're muted.
she goes.
Evelyn,
She's on.
can you hear me? I can't hear her.
Yes.
Hear you. Are we all set? All right.
She can hear.
I move we accept the minutes of the 2019 annual meeting taken by Amy Holbrook. But first, I can give you a synopsis of those extensive minutes. Last year's 119th annual meeting was held on August 3rd, a picture-perfect day under a big white tent on the Alden grounds. After the opening ceremonies and acceptance of the Secretary's report, President Pauline Kaiser announced the hiring of Christopher Lee, the Kindred's new and accomplished genealogist. Rich Holmes reported on the Speak for Thyself Awards dinner, an event that honors outstanding women. It was held at the Jones River Trading Post in Kingston. Ann Kabutzi chaired the committee. There were 5 honorees and nearly $11,000 was raised. Alden Historic Site Director Desiree Mobed invited the annual meeting attendees to visit the newly installed exhibit of artifacts found at the first site in the 1960s. Guest curator is Stephen O'Neill, and the artifacts are being studied.
Zoom cannot chat. Forget that. How many attendees cannot hear Pauline?
You got to turn the microphone to her.
Okay. All right. Just that big one, right?
Okay, I guess there's
Turn the microphone. It's going to be right at her.
something going on here. Okay, other highlights of the year included the preservation of the West Side windows, a partnership with Judah Alden's Historic Regiment, and various programs for children, including a colonial camp day. The haunted house, now a major Duxbury family tradition, was held in October. Desiree pointed out that considerable preparation is currently underway for 2020. The Alden Historic Site is to be the visitor center for Duxbury 2020. Historic trails are being marked, and a volume of 12 essays is in the works for Duxbury 2020 sales. Finance Chair Alden Kaiser reported we had a very good year with a net gain of $16,000. The mortgage on 97 Alden Street is being paid off at $11,000 a year. Looking ahead, he said, we Aldens want to go big for 2020, and he encouraged early hotel reservations. Alicia Williams reported on the scholarships awarded. Ryan Curley won the Dr. Donald B. Young Scholarship, and Teddy Stahl received the John and Priscilla Alden Scholarship. Terry Reber reported on the development of a 10-minute film that will focus on John and Priscilla's voyage on the Mayflower and their home on what we now call the first site. John Towell gave the report of the nominating committee. 6 officers and 4 new board members were voted in. Board members whose terms are completed are Amy Holbrook, Patrick Brown, John Towell, Lily Cleveland, and Emily Zoltowski. Membership Chair Gary Campbell provided the membership report and called the traditional annual meeting roll. There were 19 present, descended from Joseph, 15 from Elizabeth, 9 each from Sarah and Jonathan, 7 from Ruth, 1 from Rebecca, and 2 from David. Ages of attendees ranged from 14 to 91. The attendee from furthest away came from Canada, the closest from former Alden land. Pauline modeled the new Alden golf shirt and baseball cap and expressed her gratitude to our wonderful director, staff, and volunteers, and all present. She spoke enthusiastically about the impressive goal of raising $2.8 million for endowing the Alden Historic Site to ensure its preservation and to enlarge the barn for enhancing and expanding our living history programs. She thanked those who had already given very generously to the capital campaign. The meeting concluded at just before noon, and a picnic lunch followed, prepared by Bonji's Turkey Roost.
I move we accept the minutes as summarized.
Second. Thank you.
Wow.
We can't vote.
Oh. Yeah, well,
Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Now we can.
Okay, you should be seeing on your screen, somebody's not muted, but you should be seeing on your screen a thing that says minutes. Do you approve the minutes, yes or no? So click yes or no as you see fit, and we'll give you the total. We're doing this with the minutes so we could practice when we call the roll. That's right. So this is our practice run. Do you approve the minutes of as proposed? Yes or no? You do it. Yeah. Okay. All voting completed?
I don't see it, so I vote yes, but I don't see it on here.
Fine, Linda. Good. Do we have the results of the poll? 100% voted to accept your minutes. Thank you very much, Evelyn. Okay, moving along the agenda. The next part of the agenda involves the report of the Scholarship Committee. Linda Osborne, the chair, will give that report, and then we'll hear from the recipients of those awards as she calls you. Okay, hello, Linda.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I have to read this off the list, so look down here. The Scholarship Committee received 3 outstanding applications this year for the Dr. Donald B. Young Scholarship. It was really hard to pick, but we had to narrow it down. New York, Texas, and Connecticut. So we asked the board of directors and the finance committee, and they were able to allow us to award 2 scholarships. So that was really great. Our first scholarship is the Duxbury High School Scholarship. It's called the John and Priscilla Alden Scholarships for $500. And this year's award is Friend S. Wheeler III. And Friend, are you on here?
Yes, he is.
So, so this year's award goes to Friend Wheeler, a varsity hockey player, track and field star, class treasurer, outstanding young man who plans to attend Boston College. Friend's grandmother, Candy, is a retired teacher and a volunteer with the 3rd grade programs at the house. And she has inspired all her grandchildren with love and history and appreciation for Duxbury's rich Pilgrim heritage. Congratulations, Friend. Would you like to say a couple of words?
Sure. Thank you for accepting me for the scholarship. I had planned to attend Boston College. I'm going to be a business major in the Carroll School of Management, and excited to go back because as of now we're planning to go back. So looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank
Thanks for joining us today. Next.
Good.
Next is the Dr. Donald B. Young Scholarship Award, which we've been giving for many years. Dr. Young was a past president and very much an advocate of education, and every year would stand up at the reunion and say, we've got to have a scholarship, and every year we never had the money. So we finally were able to do it. Barbara Itz is his daughter, and the Itz family actually started off with a contribution many years ago for this scholarship. So this year we have 2 recipients. First of all, Timothy Alden Baker, and he's from East Greenbush, New York. He has overcome a learning disability to become an outstanding student. He's a National Honor Society and Science National Honor Society inductee. Among his activities, Timothy plays the trumpet with the Columbia High School Jazz Band, which earned the New York State School Association Gold Award. And he has been a doubles player on both the high school, junior varsity, and varsity tennis teams. He has volunteered with the veterans and homeless programs in his community and has served his church camp as a counselor. He's a descendant of Ruth, and Timothy plans to study environmental science at Lemoyne College in New York. Congratulations, Timothy.
Thank you. I have a few words that I'd like to say. So, hello everyone. My name is Timothy Alden Baker, and first off, I'd like to thank everyone who organized and made this meeting possible. Second, I'd like to express my gratitude for being selected for this scholarship. John and Priscilla are historical figures that I have looked up to since my childhood. My mother would tell me stories of courageous voyagers who traveled uncharted waters in search of new opportunities. I aspire to follow the ideals they lived by. I'm proud to be a descendant and to have the Alden name as part of my own. I'm honored to receive this scholarship and excited to set sail on my own voyage into the future. I will leave August 15th to attend Lemoyne College in Syracuse, New York, and to pursue environmental science. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations, Timothy. I wish that you could have been here today so that we could have presented the check to you personally, but we will see that it gets in the mail to you as soon as possible. Okay. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you.
Our second award for the Dr. Donald B. Young Scholarship this year is Julia Saltini. Now, Julia earned an impressive GPA and is a dedicated student athlete. She ran varsity cross country and track during all 4 years of her high school, helping her team to win several conference championships and to place in state competition. Julia ultimately served as team captain for both teams. With a strong interest in health, Julia has volunteered for programs focusing on healthy eating, serving lunches to children in need during the summer, and helping middle schoolers to learn to make healthy meals. Julia has volunteered in direct support for Alden House's haunted house event. We've seen her there many years, and she's a descendant of Jonathan. Julia plans to study nursing at Clemson University in South Carolina, and we're very proud to present a $1,000 scholarship to Julia. Julia, congratulations.
Thank you. I have comments as well. So I'd like to start by thanking the Alden Kindred for awarding me the Donald B. Young Scholarship. This scholarship will really help me and my family when I go to Clemson this August to pursue a career in nursing. This scholarship especially means a lot to me because I'm truly proud to be an Alden. My grandmother has told me countless stories about the Aldens throughout my childhood, especially around Thanksgiving time. I'm also proud to be related to such strong individuals who knew how to persevere through hardship and worked collaboratively with others who are different from them. I have volunteered at the Alden House, like you said, many times, and I am proud to be part of the generation that is helping to preserve the land that our ancestors built up 400 years ago. I hope to take the Alden's qualities that have been instilled with me and apply them to my own success as I enter the next chapter of my life. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Julia. And we'll see that you get your check. Maybe Grandma can bring it back with her. Thank you.
I'll carry it.
If you will. All right, so I still need to finish up. Congratulations to all 3 students. Funding for the scholarships is made possible from donations of members of the Kindred and a special trust fund that we do have for the scholarships. So if you're interested in learning more about supporting the scholarship program, you can contact me at Linda, L-I-N-D-A, @AT, spell it out, CPS @verizon.net. And this report is respectfully submitted from Elizabeth Donato, Mary Ruth Duquette, Barbara Etz, Patricia Randall, Alicia Williams, and myself, Linda Osborne. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Linda, for putting this all together. You've done this for years, and we really appreciate that work. We're going to pause off the agenda just a bit here. Rich Holmes was, who is our development chair, and also very involved with the Speak Dinner, would like to say something because the Speak Dinner never happened this year, and we have somebody that gets honored at that dinner, and it's a youth award. So I'm saying no more. I'm going to hand it over to Richard Holmes so he can talk about that award, and we can hear from the person who received it. Rich?
Thank you, Pauline, and welcome to everybody that's attending the annual reunion this year. We had hoped to have a spectacular in-person meeting. Unfortunately, we were unable to, but we'll still have a spectacular meeting today. And we're all looking so forward to having a awesome meeting next year when we can all get together again. This past spring, we had intended to honor three women and an aspiring Priscilla at our Speak for Thyself meeting. And for those that aren't fully aware of what it is, each spring in honor of Priscilla, famously saying to her future husband, "Speak for yourself, John." We honor women that stand for speaking for themselves and speaking for the world. And unfortunately, we were unable to honor them this past year. The three that we had intended to honor were Mary Hirth, Lynn McKinney-Leidick, and Time Sullivan. The Speak for Thyself event will be held this coming year in May, a specific date to be announced. But in addition, each year, we like to honor an aspiring Priscilla Award. And this is given to a young woman who is in the community and already making a difference in the world. And this past year, we had intended to honor, and we will be honoring next year, and we're proud to announce that it was Bernadette Farmer, who's a senior at Duxbury High School, intending to, hopefully, they'll be graduating this following weekend, and she'll be heading off to the University of New Hampshire, UNH. She's a vivacious and dedicated leader in her school, community, and state. She serves on a regional and state student council, executive boards, runs cross country, plays the violin, works and volunteers locally, leveraging her passion to make a difference. So congratulations, Bernadette, and would love to have a few words from you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Bernadette Farmer, and I recently graduated from Duxbury High School. I am honored to receive the Speak for Thyself Aspiring Priscilla Award. It reflects on my years of leadership, mentorship, and service to the Duxbury community, and it also represents how I advocate for myself and speak my mind, as Priscilla Mullins once did. I will especially do this next year at the University of New Hampshire as I study Homeland Security and Spanish. Thank you very much for this recognition. I look forward to learning more about Priscilla's legacy. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations. We're proud to be honoring you today. Pauline?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much, Rich, for that report. And we look forward to next May when we have another aspiring Priscilla and our awardees that we were unable to do this year. Next up is the special tribute. This is an unusual agenda item, but it's important because we have two board members that are retiring on term limits off the board who have been involved in this organization for decades and decades. And they are Pat Randall and Linda Osborne. They've served as treasurer, they've served as president. They've been around this organization for a long, long time. And I asked Alicia Williams to get on the line today as our former genealogist and personal friend of both Linda and Pat. I'm looking at all these pictures and I'm not seeing a Pat. And Pat is outside watching this on the TV, and Linda, you just heard from as the scholarship chair. So Alicia, welcome back to a board meeting. We've missed you. And please give your tribute to your two friends and our outstanding people who have served this Kindred.
Thank you, Pauline. As Tom McCarthy said yesterday in our symposium about stewardship, that our responsibility is the stewardship of the Alden House, the Alden Kindred, and the Alden legacy. And over the years, there have been hundreds of Alden descendants and friends who have joined in that stewardship. But here are two that are particularly important. First, we have Pat Randall. She and her husband, Phil, became members of the Alden Kindred in the summer of 1964. Because they lived in Duxbury, of course, they were naturally enveloped in the care of the house and the care of the Kindred. Pat became the treasurer of the Kindred, which was the treasurer for 40 years. Remember that she was working in the days of adding machines and pencils and papers. And also she was working in the days of $1 a year dues. If you have attended any of the meetings in the last 50 years, you have met Pat. She's the lady with the sweet smile and the straw hat with all the butterfly pins on it. Pat told me that it started with one pin and then everybody just kept giving more to her. Pat is our model for dedication, perseverance, and good humor. Our other steward is Linda Osborne. Now, Linda did not become an official member of the Alden Kindred until 1979, but considering the fact that her grandmother was born in the house, the paperwork was kind of, after the fact. Yesterday when Tom McCarthy was talking about stewards, he talked about Russell Edwards, who was the janitor at the Duxbury School and the primary mover behind saving the Alden First Site archaeology site. And Russell was Linda's uncle, and it was his mother who was born in the house and Linda's grandmother. Okay, Linda grew up instilled with the Alden name and tradition. She and her family would come and clean the house every year before the tourists were let in. And she has been intimately involved with it since she was born. Now, once she became a member, she was active in planning and constructing our new barn. And then she became president in 1995, holding that office for 17 years. As president now, she appointed herself custodian of the house and barn, sweeping, dusting, cleaning every week in the tradition of her Uncle Russell. And she said she enjoyed that work. It was quiet and reflective, except for the times when she could feel the ghosts in the Alden house looking at her. And she has been first call for emergencies whenever the alarm has gone off, day or night, rain, sleet, whatever. She's gotten in her car in Pembroke and drove down to check to see that the house is okay. Now, Linda is, as we all know, a woman of fierce energy and determination. Stubbornness. She's always a force to be reckoned with, and I think probably not unlike our great-grandmother Priscilla. Linda and Pat, I know that Priscilla is proud of you, as are we all, and thank you for your many years of dedicated stewardship.
Thank you, Alicia. That's a lovely tribute and so well deserved. I'm just going to hold this up next to me. I think you can all see it. This is the Mayflower, last week. And it sits in New London Harbor, which is about 20 minutes from my house in Connecticut. And I popped over the first evening it was there. I just wanted to share it with you. It was like dusk and there was nobody there. A person here, a person there. And there's this gentleman there that was taking all sorts of pictures. I said, would you take a picture of me with the Mayflower? And he did. And he says, you know what? Let me take it with my camera. So he took this marvelous picture. You could get the top, the whole thing in there of the Mayflower. But it was a quiet time. It wasn't bustling. And we just sat there and thought about it and enjoyed the view together. And a head popped up on board ship. And I said, hey, are you part of the crew? And the person said, yeah. I said, well, what's your job? And he said, I'm the bosun. And I said, oh, you're the bosun. I met you when the ship was launched at Mystic. I was in the cottage house and he happened to be in there. We had this conversation. I said, I'm back again. But anyway, it will be there another week or two, maybe a week and a half. And it's doing sea trials, and you can follow it online when it goes out to sea and when it comes back into port. And it's just sitting there, and anybody can go see it if they're traveling down 95. It's right off the highway. And it will be there, and then it will sail back up through the Cape Cod Canal to Plymouth, somewhere around August 10th, depending on seas. We have a storm coming up the coast. We have to watch that. But people are jockeying now for where they're going to find a spot to park or sit along the Cape Cod Canal. So if you try in the next 10 days from now to go to Cape Cod, you're going to be in trouble. So I just thought I would share this picture with you this morning and say that she's looking very well and very much alive. And we are so lucky to have that Mayflower too, to illustrate what the journey must have been like for John and Priscilla. Moving on now to the finance report. I see Alden Kaiser there. Alden, you want to unmute? Thank you.
I'm here.
And I'll mute. You unmute, I'll mute.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to everybody that's out there in Cyberland. My name is Alden Kaiser. I'm the chair of the Finance Committee. Before I start, I wanted to say a couple of things. I wanted to welcome the new board members that are coming in this year. Looking forward to working with you. And I wanted to remark about the symposium that was held yesterday. If you missed it, it was very, very good. Alicia, who just spoke, was one of the panelists. And I believe it was recorded, and a link is going to be put on the Alden Kindred website. And if you haven't seen it or weren't able to see it yesterday, I would recommend that you look at it sometime when you have a chance. A couple of years ago, I was at an annual meeting of a not-for-profit similar to the Alden Kindred, and the finance person got up and started their report by saying, we never had any money, we don't have any money, and we never will have any money. He, of course, was joking because I knew better. But many 501c3 not-for-profits are under incredible stress because of what's going on now, especially some of the performing arts organizations, because they've been completely shut down because of their distancing stuff. Fortunately, I'm able to say that the Kindred is stable and financially stable. This thing is forcing us to become a much better cyber organization, which we're going to be doing anyway. All the numbers on the finance report are in the annual report, which I hope you have access to. The only shortfall that we had was in revenues from the Speak event, and that was unavoidable, and we worked through that. We accomplished a lot. We made many necessary repairs on the house. Our balance sheet, our financial position is strong. We have a healthy cash position. Our endowment fund stands at almost $460,000, of which $32,000 is the first fundraising for the capital campaign. We are now in the process of renewing our loan, our mortgage on the property, which we had to take out to buy 97 Alden Street. And that should be renewed very shortly. And I think it's a perfect time to renew the mortgage. Interest rates are at historic lows, and I think we're going to do very well. They were fixing it for 10 years, so we know exactly what we're going to have to pay on that mortgage for the next 10 years. That's about all I had to say. I'm not sure I can take questions, but I wish everybody well. Stay safe. Back to you, Pauline.
Here I am. I'm back.
We probably need a motion to accept the Finance Committee report.
I'm going to do this one by voice, okay? All those in favor of approving the 2020 budget, please say aye, raise your hands, do whatever.
Haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen it yet.
Oh, they do have it up there. Okay. You see it on your screens? Not allowing me to.
I don't see it.
Desiree?
I think you want to approve the. You want to approve the Finance Committee report.
We're trying to.
Okay, not the budget.
Just what? It doesn't do it. I see, on my screen, I see the budget vote up there, but I'm not allowed to vote yes or no.
Hosts and participants are not allowed to vote. You'll have to do it by a voice vote, and it should be to approve the Finance Committee report, not the budget.
Okay. Thank you, Alden. The motion for those who can vote on it is to accept the finance report as presented by Alden Kaiser, the chair. If you want to either unmute and say yes or raise your hand for yes, the yes vote is now open.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yeah. Any nays? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to membership. Yeah, we're going to move on to membership, and the report will be given by Gary Campbell.
We have, somebody is not muted because we're getting comments on the chat that there's a lot of chatter, cross chatter. So if you haven't muted your speaker, please do so because the audience is hearing all this chatter that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
This is Gary Campbell. I'd like to give you the membership report.
We're not getting it. You're going to speak loud. Yeah. What's doing it?
We're back to normal now, I guess. Excuse me. Pleased to announce that we've made our goal. Some years ago, we set a goal of having 2,020 members in the year 2020. And we made, this year we had 2,403 contacts with membership, 2,037 billable members. Big difference. If you remember some years ago, the contacts with membership includes children. We do not bill them, and life members, we don't bill them. So total memberships is 2,403, and again, the members that we can bill are 2,037. Among those are 488 life members. Our new members total 135. 8 new life members of 135, and 76 are individual memberships, and 51 are family memberships. So it looks like very soon we'll have to set some new goals. I'd like to have a nice total for next year when we have a in-person meeting, I hope. We also have some past due members, so we continue to work on those. But that's the report. That's it. Thank you very much for all your attention.
Okay, if you have questions, oops, let me just unmute. Oh. If you have questions for Gary about membership or anything of that sort, you can write to us on chat. We'll try to take some of those questions later, but we'll definitely answer all your questions in some fashion. We all have all your emails so that we can do that. Otherwise, we'll accept your report as given. Gary, thank you for your work on that. And Rich Holmes is, okay, Rich Holmes is up next. Rich?
I'm back again.
You're back again.
We are going to call the roll. First, we're going to take a survey of the number of states and countries that are of participants today. A survey will come up on your screen. Everybody will vote. Last year, we had states and 2 countries, United States and Canada. So if whomever's in charge of the poll, if they could put that up so all participants can vote.
You need to enter the chat, I'm told. See the chat bottom on the bottom of your...
Yes, I've entered.
No, everybody needs to enter it, right? Everybody on the bottom of your screen, it says chat on the bottom. If you click that, you'll find the chat and put down the state you come from. Just say Missouri or country. Okay, so I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna put in I'm gonna click on chat on the bottom. It's not showing me. Why don't you give them the I'm seeing them come in now by state. How do I do it? Where? It doesn't do it.
So Pauline, what I'm going to suggest we do is that we'll let people continue to vote for their states. And I do believe we do have a poll for all the descendants. And maybe we could do that poll and then I'll go and tally all the different states.
That sounds like a plan.
Only I can talk.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the calling of the roll of from whom you are descended. I've been told that you can enter multiple names if you're lucky enough to be descendants of multiple children. So let's have everybody vote right now, if you could, please.
See, it says hosts and panelists.
So the hosts and the participants cannot vote, but certainly everybody on the Zoom call can vote.
Okay, so everybody on the Zoom call should be seeing a screen that says ancestry, Alden roll call, which child are you descended from? And it's multiple choice because there are people that are related to almost every sibling. I know I have 2. So.
It's weird.
What's fun about this is I'm seeing on my screen everybody's chat and who's on there. Hi, Paul Clementi, my Jonathan relative. And, so I'm seeing who's on the call and where they're from. That's neat.
Andrew panelist.
I got him in Baker.
Okay. 77% of you have voted. Will we couple more seconds as we get through more?
You can write it in the chat.
Can he see this? Okay. Now here's the results. Richard, can you see those?
I wouldn't want to interrupt you, but yes, I can see it. So we have, let's see, 30 Elizabeths, 1 John, 21 Josephs, 10 Sarahs, 4 Jonathans, 19 Ruths, 3 Rebeccas, 3 David. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had 83 people vote, and thank you very much. I will get back with a report shortly on the states.
Okay, thank you. And I think there's still a few people having an issue with getting the right screen, but you know, gives us a flavor. Not surprisingly, Elizabeth has done it again. Elizabeth has the most prolific line, I guess, and related to a lot of other people within that family. Thank you for the calling of the roll. I wonder, are we asking if we have anyone young and old? Okay. Rich, are you back? If you're back on, you want to tell us who's the youngest member of the Alden Kindred as we speak?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, and I'm welcome, I will welcome a correction, but my wife and I were very happy to welcome a new grandchild that was born on June 2nd. Was due on the middle of July, came a little bit early. Wanted to be ready for the reunion. So, but Koji Bradford Ross was born on June 2nd, 2020.
Right. And you're apologizing for his middle name, right?
Never, never.
Wasn't all it was Bradford. Okay. Well, I think that's the youngest, but we don't really know who is the oldest son intending. But in the following page, if you're 90 or over, let us know. No, we didn't get any of the non-Nigerians on. Okay. All right, maybe.
We had somebody come in and on chat that said their granddaughter was born in July.
Oh, wonderful. Where's, I don't see it. Do you have the name, Alden?
Well, it flashes and then it goes
Yeah.
away, so. Maybe
Well,
they
we
can,
have that in the chat. So we do have one that was born in July.
oh,
Wonderful.
here's one July 22nd.
July
Just-
22nd.
Just came by.
Oh, 90. Oh, Pat, we have a 90-year-old present on the site. How about that? It's Pat Randall has reached her 90th birthday. That's the person we gave the tribute to earlier in the program. And she's out there, just a staver right there. And I think she beat out Rink by a year or two, not much. I'm not going to worry. It's their 90th year. Okay. Moving right along. Thank you, Rich, for doing that. And thank you for all for being so patient as we go through this. This is a learning experience in person. Where is my genealogist? Christopher Lee. Christopher, can you unmute? He's not listening.
Yes, I'm listening.
There you are. Hi, Christopher.
Took me a moment there. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Christopher Lee is our genealogist, superb, and I'm putting him on to chat about his year at the Alden Kindred. Christopher.
Great. Thank you. Right. So this year, which is our fiscal year rather, the Alden Kindred received 102 lineage applications. This was just about the same, 3 more actually than the previous year. We approved 45 lineages, which is 5 more than the previous year. Those came out of lineages submitted in the previous year and this year, very end of the previous year. As in my report last year, there are very many applications who either don't submit documentation or they sort of stall out, that we would like to develop new mechanisms for sort of keeping them progressing on that front. So hopefully that will be something that's resolved in the coming year that we can add to our program, to our email contacts and similar. The program, which many of you know, is that the lineage verification applicants supply documentation from primary and authoritative secondary sources to support a paper document lineage from John and Priscilla down to themselves. Often that is supported significantly by the Mayflower Society Silver Books and by some of the major scholarly genealogical journals. And it can also be supported by lineage files already in our collection there. The many applicants over the particularly recent years have the level of genealogical documentation we need to appropriately verify the lineages. I would also add that the coronavirus, the shutdown, and sort of our remote activity over much of the latter half of this fiscal year probably slowed down significantly our response time and our verification process during those months. So there are, to my knowledge, a number of people who are interested, who may have even supplied a good deal of documentation that hopefully we will continue to process through a backlog there over the coming months. But our numbers verified are up slightly. Our numbers taken in about the same, just slightly up. And then we continue to have a number of applicants who are interested, but then don't necessarily proceed or perhaps understand well how to proceed through verifying their lineages. And those are things that we hope to continue to tackle in the coming year and to continue to make better known and get them better information about how they can progress quickly and successfully through that process. I would say also we had three, possibly four lineages that were disproved. In other words, these were people who submitted documentation or partial documentation of a lineage which could be verified to not descend, if that makes sense, to not descend from John and Priscilla. So in those cases, we have, or as I said, with 3 to 4, we have yet to inform those applicants that we have found they do not descend from John and Priscilla. And besides that, there is an effort to compile and update our notable or famous Alden Descendants booklet. That is ongoing. I would like to see that completed towards the end of this year. And then as I went into in the report submitted to the annual report, we've really had a number of interesting descendants come in. They're all interesting, but some that were particularly highlights. We have a presidential Adams descending straight through the Adamses line that I mentioned in the report. We have another verified lineage that was just completed that takes advantage of a 2016 article that opened a considerable descendancy of Elizabeth Peabody descendants through revolutionary New Jersey and New York City. And then I believe we've found candidates for the board and for the Speak Awards that have been brought to the attention of those committees through the verification processes as well. So I will say respectfully submitted, your genealogist, Christopher Lee, and I would be willing to take any questions if those are out there among the board.
Thank you very much, Christopher. I also, because we have a lot of people online that may or may not have joined the Kindred yet, that to remind people that you can be a member of the Alden Kindred of America without proving your lineage. It's right. We just want to welcome everybody in this organization, and dues are $40 for individual, $60 for a family, And then if you wish to be a Lineage member and be in our archives as such, that's a separate project and process, and that's what Christopher is talking about doing. So even the ones that didn't end up being proved, those people can be full members of the Alden Kindred, because we really need to support this National Historic Landmark with everybody. Okay, moving right along, we have the most important part of our voting meeting is to elect people to the board and the offices for the coming year. And I'm sitting next to Pam Campbell-Smith, who co-chairs the nominations committee for her report. And we will have a vote up on the screen for that, and everybody can vote on that. Then we have Desiree's report and my report, and we're done. So at least we're done with that part. We have other things you can stay tuned to later on. So Pam, you're all set? Yeah.
Here we go.
I have to get mine off.
It didn't start. All right, good morning, everyone. First of all, we want to thank the following people for your years of dedication. So again, thank you, Pat Randall and Linda Osborne. We can't say enough. We also want to thank Paul Clementi, Tom McCarthy, Terry Reiber, and Jerry Roberts. And Tom McCarthy will be staying on as our historian. So at this time, my co-chair, Kathy Harder Bernier, and myself would like to present to the Alden Kindred of America the following slate for the Board of Directors consideration at the annual meeting. For Second Vice President, Richard Holmes. Treasurer, Alden Kaiser. Secretary, Evelyn Walker. For members at large, Tom Delano, Gregory O'Donnell, Russell Rockwell, and Greg White.
Okay. Thank you for that list. That's not gonna work. You can have to take your volume. Am I all right? Okay, you've heard the names proposed. You should be able to get that up on the screen, correct? If you push the button below under chat, right? Is it chat or a polling one? Oh, here we are. Do you approve of the slate of offices for fiscal year 2021? We'd like everybody to vote on this because this is a matter of legal record for us, except the hosts and panelists, we can record their votes later. Okay, we're watching your votes come in. We're getting good at this. You're voting faster. That's a good thing. Here we go. We're all set. The voting is closed. Again, you've broken a record in time, and with 99% reporting of those that are on the call, they voted overwhelmingly to put those following people in the offices and on the board as was disclosed by Pam Smith. Thank you very much for your work. They did a lot of good work this year. Moving right along, it's my pleasure to introduce you to someone who's no stranger, especially if you've been on any of our Zoom calls. This is exactly the way Desiree looks on a Zoom call. She's got the house as her background. My computer won't put a background in there, so I'm stuck. But I'm going to figure that one out. Anyway, Desiree Mobit has been our director now 5 years. Can you believe it's been 5 years, Desiree? And she's done a wonderful job. We work well together. We've got exciting plans ahead, and we've had a very good year considering all the other things that have occurred. So Desiree, the floor is yours. I am going to do this one. Hold on. I have to do it this way.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for your patience as we work through this new experience of an annual meeting. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve as director of the Alden House Historic Site for the past 4 years. When we were getting ready for this meeting, it occurred to me to remember that about this time, 400 years ago, a young woman had boarded the ship Mayflower with her family, while a young cooper hired for the voyage was probably very busy checking those casks for the long journey. How could they have imagined what the next chapter of their lives would be, and that their legacy would bring you all here today, gathered from across the nation to celebrate them, this family, and the Alden Kindred that has so faithfully stewarded this property for over 100 years. So welcome. And now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here shortly. All right. There we go. All right. So it seems like this year has had 2 starts. We had January 1st, that great Rose Bowl parade with that beautiful Mayflower ship going down the road there. And then we had, I guess, what we felt like was the day we finally came out of quarantine. We finally began to see signs of life here at Alden House in May, when families in the area began to venture out on our outdoor pilgrim quest that we had created in partnership with a local organization. And then, as we can only describe it, with pilgrim-like perseverance, to honor the 400th anniversary, we prepared to open for guided tours and are now welcoming small groups to the house. I'd like to point out that Alden House is one of the few sites in this area that is open to the public, and visitors have been very appreciative. With all the major 400th anniversary events canceled, we sought to rescue some of our planned events, including this annual reunion. And thanks to the world's recent marriage to Zoom, have been able to transition some of these events online. And while nothing replaces the real thing and being able to stand in the footsteps of your ancestors, virtual programming also gives us a wonderful opportunity to share more of what is going on here with our worldwide Alden Kindred and friends. And it has been an absolute joy to be able to host some of our virtual programs and see you all coming in from California and Hawaii and all kinds of different places. We, of course, one of our signature events is this phenomenally fun, spooktacular Halloween event that happens every October. It's much anticipated by the local community in its 17th year. And of course, this year will be, even though we're all getting very good at masks, we'll be reconfiguring how to host this event in this virtual world. Also, we're looking at our children's and youth programming. We have interns, we have 3rd grade programs, we have camps, and we have all kinds of different hands-on opportunities that we will be looking, some to share in person and some, of course, to share remotely. So with the need for, oh, wait a second here. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I lost my place. As we've talked about and Alden had mentioned in his report, our Speak for Thyself major fundraising event were postponed. We had 45 bus tours that were all canceled. This reunion is a virtual event. Our haunted house, will be changed, and our museum opening was delayed. Visitation to the region is down 40%. and will be further impacted with the state's new travel restrictions. But there is good news, and there is actually a lot of good news. We've had exceptional generosity from you, our members. Thank you for your contributions to the annual fund and memberships. We were able to secure one of those Paycheck Protection Program loans. Mass Humanities Federal CARES Act will help carry us through the next months. I also would like to take a moment to recognize some of the major organizations that are consistent supporters: the Rockwell Foundation, Rockland Trust Charitable Foundation, Massachusetts Society of the Cincinnati, the Daughters of the American Revolution, Duxbury Cultural Council, and new this year, the 1772 Foundation. Looking forward into this next year, as Pauline will discuss in her report, a generous grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Council Facilities Fund for a technical and feasibility study provides a most welcome start to planning for the future of Alden House and the proposed Center for Living History. So preservation work at your Alden House is always going on, and this year's projects were to restore the front door and replace the threshold, which you see there in front of you, in addition to some always painting projects, just like we know on our own homes, and a survey of the chimney, which was funded by the 1772 Foundation. The signature project for the Alden House for this 2020 anniversary was the creation of an exhibit of the archaeological artifacts related to John and Priscilla's original home site in Duxbury. These artifacts were excavated 60 years ago. With the help of graduate students from the University of Boston who studied the ceramic artifacts and the glass pieces, we were able to put together a professionally curated display, which is now in the L of the house, and it is the most expansive of these projects, or most expansive display of these artifacts to date. With the very small fragments of those Alden pieces that remain, we added a few reproductions just to help people interpret what they were seeing. This year, we added 2 new pieces, which was a wonderful Snap-Haunce musket that you'll hear a little bit more about later in the program today, based on the lock pieces that you see in the middle there, and this fabulous Jesuit trade ring. Now, this is a reproduction of the original that is, and they're both displayed in the exhibit, but a jeweler from North Carolina actually crafted this to be an exact copy of what was found in the ground 60 years ago, had snapped off somehow to disappear till we can see it again. And this exhibit got some interest from Early American Life magazine, which is a national publication that featured an article about this exhibit. We're very proud to be able to continue that into the next year. We also partnered with several organizations in the region, and as we were supposed to be the visitor center for Duxbury, and the need to serve large numbers of people has changed, we still have become the focus for the 17th century story in Duxbury. And these interpretive projects will extend beyond 2020. This Pilgrim Era Guide that is a printed publication will also be posted online. We have a new audio tour and a video about the archaeology exhibit that is posted at the foundation site. It is also available online, and if you're not able to visit that exhibit in person, we do encourage you to check that out. We will be showing that a little bit later today. We worked closely with Duxbury 2020, a nonprofit organization, to plan for Duxbury's signature events for the 400th anniversary. And what they had decided right away, and who knew that they were so prescient, they did not want to do a one and done event. Instead, they wanted legacy projects, and they chose two. One on the right is the marking of a small half-mile section of conservation land and paths that was actually an original 17th century, or what remains of an original 17th century path that connected Plymouth with Marshfield. And who knew that it was there? And now, thanks to these wonderful new interpretive signs, when people are enjoying those conservation lands, they will come across this and be able to learn a little bit more about Duxbury's Pilgrim story. And on the left, if you were able to join us for the symposium yesterday, this new publication, Duxbury, Our Pilgrim Story, a 2020 perspective, consists of 12 essays by scholars and historians, each with their own perspective on Duxbury's Pilgrim era. It's a fabulous book. 3 of the chapters highlight the Alden story. Alicia, who's made a presentation earlier, wrote about the genealogy, Priscilla's children. Tom McCarthy, the Alden genealogist, wrote about Alden houses. And Stephen O'Neill, who curated that archaeology exhibit I mentioned, talked about what was left behind. We highly recommend it, and it just happens to be available at the alden.org museum shop. So what began outside as a way just to beautify the gardens many years ago has become really an interpretive story, as we've worked closely with Jeanette McKenzie, who's actually one of our Speak recipients, and I know you've heard about that program a few times today. Outstanding master gardener with a great love of the history of gardening, has helped us recreate, not so much recreate perhaps, but to be able to tell the story of how families like the Aldens would have lived and what would have been in their gardens. What did they eat over 400 years? How did it change? How did they take care of the medical needs of their families? And when you visit today, the gardens are really become an important part of what our visitors can experience. Coming up very soon, we're in the final edits of an orientation video that will welcome visitors coming here for tours of the museum. We're so grateful to our very hardworking team and to our very generous funders. Carol Dykstra helped us, in addition to the Rockwell Foundation, and we look forward to sharing this project with you in the very, very soon. Through all of the challenges and even the good times and the difficult times, I want to thank some very, very hardworking people who are on our staff. You heard from Christopher, our wonderful guides, and our bookkeeper, Carol, who's actually here today helping out as she can, as she always is. And I just wanted to say a special note of thanks to them. For those of you who are not members yet, and there are, I know some of you who've joined us new today, I encourage you to think about this organization. It is a National Historic Landmark recognized by the federal government for its cultural and historic significance to this country. It is the only pilgrim site that has been continuously owned by the same Mayflower Pilgrim family. And it is one of the very few that is actually open. And when people come here, the guides jokingly call it the Alden Shiver, but it is amazing what it feels like to be able to walk in the steps of your ancestors, or the early settlers of this country, on the place where history really happened. Just a quick note about what's coming up. this afternoon's programs. I just wanted to make sure we brought these to your attention. We will be offering a virtual tour of Alden House at noon, followed by a slideshow of some of the photos that you have so kindly shared with us. Our Priscilla, Imagining the Voice of a Pilgrim Mother, with actress and history presenter Diana Dunlap, will be start at 2, and that program about the John Alden musket will wrap us up at 3:30. Here's a quick promo for our online shop. And again, thank you to all of you for the honor of serving here. Remind you that we are offering virtual tours of Alden House. Please join us on Tuesdays at 10:30. You can sign up on the Alden website. That concludes my report, and I very much appreciate your time. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to. Thank you very much. Desiree, I'm seeing if I can get out of here. Okay.
Her hand totally swollen.
Yeah, those are nasty, those things.
Thank you, Desiree, for that wonderful report.
That is worse. I read paper wasp things.
Somebody's not muted.
Only ice gives temporary.
Cindy, is it you?
What?
You're not muted. We're hearing you. Whatever you're saying, say something nice. All right, you there now? Okay. I don't know how to get back.
So Pauline, I did post on the chat. We have 27 states represented here today, 17 new states. South Carolina, Iowa, New Jersey, Oregon, Washington, D.C., Georgia, West Virginia, Kentucky, Maryland, Missouri, Colorado, Minnesota, Illinois, Washington, Arizona, Texas, California. California had none in 2019. They have 15 this year. It's only slightly less than the 17 from Massachusetts.
Wow, coast to coast.
That is it.
Thank you very much, Rich.
You're welcome.
Okay, I have some remarks to make, and then we can officially end this meeting and go on to, let's see what we're, see if I get back in here correctly. Can everybody hear me at this point? I don't know. I'm good. She says I'm good to go. So, no, but I don't have him up. I'm good to go. All right, good to go. And I want to say again, I thank you for your time and your effort and for attending this meeting. And it's run pretty smoothly. It's tricky, but we've tried to do the best we can, and I'm sure we'll improve it. And even if we have a big reunion here in person next year, we'll make sure that people who can't come can tune into it in some way. So, dear members and friends, on October 1st last year, and August 1st last year, we began what we thought was going to be a very special year, planning for the arrival of 2020 and the celebration of 400 years since the Mayflower set sail from England. We were energized and hopeful, excited, and spent a good deal of time planning a 4-day reunion and a celebration for all our Alden cousins and extended families. And just like the Mayflower, we were blown off course by something called COVID-19. Now, we didn't give up the ghost very early. We kept this possibility in our minds of holding this reunion today in person. And we waited to the very last second to make sure that we had a shot at doing so. But then the rules that came out from Massachusetts with a spike in cases precluded us from doing this. The only way we could have done it is we would have had to have been protesters, because that's the only ones exempt from those rules. But so we said, okay, we'll just do it quietly this year online, and we'll gear up for next year, which we will then make a large celebration, hopefully, for us. So just like the Mayflower, we were blown off course, and just like the Plymouth colony, we were besieged by illness and health concerns. So now, just like John and Priscilla, we pick ourselves up and we begin anew. More than ever, we need to tell our story of our heritage and make certain our next generations learn and understand our history. All of it, good and not so good, but with appreciation for the brave hearts that created a promising life here and a democracy that will survive and thrive in the years ahead. Although these 2020 plans were dashed, we have had a successful year. Both our memberships and our annual fund were up. And for the first time in our 120-year history of the Kindred, we exceeded $50,000 goal for donations and have the highest number of members that we've ever had. We thank you all for making that happen. We've had other successes. Desiree mentioned the window project. And for those of us who have looked at those windows for years, we're so happy to see them all restored and painted. Loving the new door, bright red. It's really very handsome, and the threshold as well. And I just got to see these because I haven't been able to come up here for 6 months. And that's unusual. I'm usually here monthly. So I'm continuing to explore the chimney. And if any of you have gone through the house, whether virtually or in person, you'll notice we have the bowing of the paneling over those large hearths, which always provide us some angst. And we're having yet another expert take a look at it because we're taking good care of our house. Our staff, under the very capable leadership of Desiree Mobed, have learned much about digitizing our lectures and programs, and we have a constant presence and consistent programming on social media. What I'm doing now is I've just appointed a task force of 4 talented people on it from our membership to deal with policy and structure and planning for living in a digital age and communicating with our members and beyond, and increasing our education. Adrian Sumner, who runs that wonderful Facebook page that probably most of you know about. If you don't, it's called John and Priscilla Alden Mayflower, John Alden, Priscilla Mullins, descendants of the Mayflower. And it's been a wonderful resource. She tends it like a garden. She talks to you every day and you all talk back. It's just wonderful and a great thing. And she sits on our board and she'll be on that committee. Ann Cabuzzi from Pennsylvania, who has a deep history in corporate matters and planning and structure, will be on that board. And you may be online. Hello. Tom Delano, a new person that you just voted onto the board, has a lifetime history of educational presentations and publications, and both in print and in digital. And a fellow named Jim Lee, who works with Oracle and is in marketing. And this foursome is going to do some work in the next 2 months to present to the board in November to put this part of our strategic plan of how to move forward in this next generation. So the other reason for that is that we plan to expand this barn, and we're going to build the Alden Center for Living History. So what's ahead for this year? Well, it's going to be a quiet year on the site because everything has gotten changed due to COVID-19 rules. But it's going to be a busy year online and a very, very busy year for planning for next year to make up for what we couldn't do this year. But it's a time to strengthen our organization. It's a time to resolve to launch the 2020 campaign to build the Alden Center for Living History. It got off track this year because we were focusing on 2020 and then everything stopped. So this is the time for us to move forward and complete our plans. The idea is to make us a solid, financially sound organization, larger than we are today, and larger mainly because we're going to put an addition on our existing barn of roughly 40 by 60 feet and create this Alden Center for Living History. What is it? It will be a place where anything that happens in that can be shared with the rest of the world. It will be electronically interactive. It will be engaging for people who come into the building. we're planning it so that what we do here will make a huge difference out there in the big world. And the museums that are going to survive into the next few decades are going to have to meet that need. And we want to be ahead of the curve, and we want to jump on it this year. It's very important. And in our planning of this, we are planning now a lot more security measures and a lot more electronic measures to make sure we ensure the safety of our treasures here. We're in a particular time and period of history, which is, I would call it a revisionist period in a sense, where people don't seem to understand or care about the history of this country. And I am concerned that, you know, we're as vulnerable as other people. And we're bringing this issue to some of our parent organizations, if you will, and say, okay, how are we going to protect our historical assets? And I think we can play a role in that, and I think we have to play a role in it, that some things are important and cannot be destroyed. So I probably wouldn't have said that a year ago, but today I say that. So the idea of taking care of the mortgage that Alden talked about earlier, taking care of the mortgage, providing a preservation fund that's specifically for the asset, the house and the first site. And the reason we need to do that is most every grant today is a matching grant. And so we need to have a fund that's dedicated strictly and only for that purpose. And then we need to build this new Alden Center for Living History. It's a tall order. I'll put it all together. We're talking about $2.8 million. Talking about just the museum part of it is probably half of that. So what's the goal this year? This year, we, you, me, everybody is going to work on this, and we're going to raise $1 million towards that Center for Living History, and we're going to be ready to put a shovel into the ground. Why can we be ready? We can be ready because we've received a wonderful first grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Council, and that will give us the money that we match. It was a $60,000 project to put all the feasibility around this building of this new entity. And why else are we going to be ready? Because of your interest and your generosity. We quietly launched things a year ago, and to date we've raised quietly $175,000 towards this project. However, I'm here today to announce something even more exciting. We need a stimulus to get this project moving, and we have it. And we have it in the form of an anonymous donor who has said to me, Pauline, I will match the first $500,000 that's raised. There we go. That's the challenge. Can we raise the $500,000 to match the $500,000 on the table to make the $1 million we need for next year? I think we can. I think you can. I think we all can. Some people can do it in a very big way. Some people can do it in a small way. Some people can do it in a legacy way. Some people could do it in small, doing something just monthly. Whatever, it suits your possibilities, we can do it together. There's not going to be one big person that comes by and everybody else sits down and does nothing. It's got to be everybody in this together. And for those of you who have pledged already, I want to say thank you. Thank you for the early spur to get this moving. And to the anonymous donor, I want to say bless you for giving us this challenge. We need the challenge. You need it to get it off the ground. And I'm sure it's doable. I hope you think it's doable too. Look at the numbers of people. There's only a couple of hundred on this call today, but online, we have 3,500 people talking to each other every day about the Aldens. We have a much more communication with our existing membership, with another 2,000 people. You start dividing that up into small donations, and you can raise a lot. You also can identify people who can do more. And we have somebody that's done some research on Alden descendants that are not active, that are people who are part of that fame book, that have the ability to have left a significant mark in this nation. And we're going to approach some of those folks as well. And together, we're going to do this. And it's exciting. The feasibility study process has begun. We have consultants and architects and other people in construction asking us about it. The excitement is there. We don't have to, have it clouded by all the preparation we did last year for 2020. We have the time and the effort and the determination, but we need your help. And so when we send things and you get information and you want more information, just call, talk to me. We can Zoom, you and I can just have a Zoom call with a couple other people if you want to know more about our plans and how you can help. There's not anybody that can't help in some way. I'm convinced of it. And now that I'm even saying that, I was just got a message yesterday from Amazon. We have measured, we've told people about the Amazon Smile program, where they put a small portion of the article purchased by you towards a charity. We're on that list. If you open a Smile Amazon account, you can, a certain percentage of every purchase you make can be dedicated to the Alden Kindred of America. You just have to sign up. Well, I noticed that a lot of people are doing their business online with Amazon off their phones and not doing it through their computer. And up until now, it was impossible to do a Smile one from your phone. The app didn't handle it. And a lot of people complained. I was one of them that said, how come? And so I got a message yesterday that said, if you open your app from Amazon on your phone, you can install your Smile Amazon account in it. So it'll automatically give you the ability to dedicate a percentage of your purchase to the Alden Kindred. That has enormous, enormous potential for this project, as well as giving straight out. We are also able to take stock, and we're also able to set up legacy programs for people who want to give a special gift. And I'm told yesterday we're extending our brick walkway because it's almost full. So that's another way people can help. So with all that, I just said it was going to be a quiet year. It's going to be quietly positive and quietly effective, and we're going to produce the results that we need. I sure hope that you're as excited about it as I am. I think it will put us on the map. We're a small organization, but we're mighty. We're the only Mayflower home open for visitors at this time in this area. And people come by and say, oh, thank God you're open. Nothing else is open. I said, we're open. Come on into our house. And we are able to be nimble enough in this environment to bounce back and bounce back in a big way quickly. We have an advantage. We want to take advantage of the advantage. And we can do that with your help. So let us try to put that first million down right in the coffers this year. And I can't not thank enough the inspiration for this, for somebody who has stepped up to the plate to say, here's $500,000, match it. Wonderful. That's just wonderful. And it's probably the best way I can leave you today, except to say to stay well and healthy, take care of your families, and keep a place in your heart for your Alden House. Come back in 21 and we'll see what's happened. Thank you so much for listening today. And you can keep this on for a while. You could take a break. There's photos that you've sent in. So to show us who's on the line and other Aldens that can't come. I'm going to end the formal part of the meeting, but the answer, I'm leaving open the question and answer phase. So for those people who have had all the questions answered, it's fine. You can leave the meeting. For those who'd like to pose a question, pose it. I'm going to look at it and answer what I can, or get the answers back to you as soon as I can. Okay? Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. I love the Alden Kindred. It's one of the best organizations I've ever worked with, and I've worked with an awful lot of them. And it's in my heart, and I can't tell you what it meant to come back after a 6-month hiatus and see everything today with new eyes again. It's just a wonderful experience. Come join it with me. Take care.